This is the Spiritual Tea Report, and I'm going over Zodiac Killers. And I seen this list on Facebook, and it's a list of viral serial killers and their zodiac signs. There is only one Scorpio. They made a mistake on him, but I'm going to go over that. But I'm going from the top most Zodiac killers, and then I'm going to go on to the least of the Zodiac killers. But I'm going to be starting off with Virgo. Virgo is number one of on this list of the Zodiac killers. There's a lot of Virgos on this list, so let's get into it. I created this list in ABC order, but some will go out of order because some of the serial killers match up with each other. The first person I'm going over is Paul Bernardo. Paul Bernardo was born August the 27th, 1964, and his soul contract is 8/9/11. Pay attention to the birthdays and also pay attention to the soul contracts because they're very important as I go on talking about each zodiac serial killer. So Paul Bernardo, he's known as Paul Jason Till, is a Canadian serial killer, and he's a rapist as well. And he was known as the schoolgirl killer. And him and his wife, they killed young women, young ladies around I believe 14 and 15, and one was his sister-in-law, which was Carla's her little sister, I believe. And they also label Paul and Carla as the Ken and Barbie killers, serial killers. But what was interesting with his birthday is he has that 9 in his numerology of what I do with soul contracts. So 9 means that you want that exclusion, you're a mastermind. So that's how he thinks. So he can definitely create when he's by himself, which I'm sure he was plotting and planning on people. And then in the next one, the next pick, I want to just go over his face because him and Carla's face actually change as we go to this next pick. I mentioned Bernardo is a plotter and a planner, but you can also see that in Carla's face as well. You see that small eye is really the eye that is zeroing in and looking at the off things about you and really pulling you apart and being very critical. That smaller eye, but that bigger eye is dreaming up some things. And also sometimes when you see this type of face where it has a small eye, big eye, that big right eye is usually showing that that person is dreaming up some things in their imagination, or they could be looking at porn. And in this case, Carla and Bernardo were doing the same thing. You can see that their eyes are doing the same thing, and then they also think very much alike. So they were partners in crime in this, and they're twinning with their faces if you really pay attention to them. Next up, we have Ed Gein, and his birthday is August the 27th, 1906. And my numerology of soul contracts, his birthday is 897. Ed Gein was notorious for being a grave robber. He was taking bodies out of the grave, and he was also dismembering the people. And he's really known. He is the real life Norman Bates of Psycho. And in this picture, there's a lamp, and it's made out of actually human skin and human body parts that he was using. So yeah, he was really gruesome. He was a gruesome serial killer. They also call Ed Gein Leatherface. And do y'all remember Silence of the Lambs? There's Psycho on here, so we said, his character, the character Norman Bates was based off of Psycho, but also a character on Silence of the Lambs. Y'all remember when he's like, put the lotion in the bucket, and he was making the girl put the lotion on her body. Ed Gein was doing stuff like that. These characters were based off of him. So that's showing you, Virgos. Beware the Virgos in the month of 8. It's not funny, but it's something to think about. And just look at this next pick that is coming up. Is mm. As I go through this list and I started grouping everybody together with their zodiac signs, I also was looking at the numbers, and I see that Ed Gein and Paul Bernardo have the same birthday. So it's almost like I'm wondering if there's some type of reincarnating of this energy of this predator. And look at their eyes. So I was talking about Paul and how he has the sharp, small eye, the left eye, and then the right eye is wide open. Ed Gein is almost opposite of him, where he is a person where he plays innocent, but he has that lazy looking type of eye that goes down, that's being highly critical and still plotting and planning on you. They plot and plan in different ways where they're opposites, but don't they kind of look similar? They look very similar. The only difference with them is that they were born in different years, but the month and the day is matching up, which makes them definitely some type of twinning going on. And it's just interesting that they're both born on this date, and they kind of look alike, don't you think? Next up on our Zodiac Killer list, and we're going over Virgos, we have Richard Begenwald, and he was born August the 24th, 1940, and his soul contract is 865. And it's so interesting because he's only a few days before Paul and Ed. Richard Begenwald was known as the Jersey Shore thrill killer, and he killed a lot of people. He killed at least 9 people, and there was 2 other people that he didn't get, I guess, charged for, but he definitely was doing some killing in New Jersey. And I guess a lot of people in New Jersey would know about that. That it was a long time ago, but serial killers go down infamously for the acts that they do, the murders that they do. It stays in history, and people research these type of people. But I do again find it interesting that it's just so close to the other serial killers, which makes me think to look even more into the dates and how their minds work. And I would say that he deals with the day of six, and a lot of people who deal with the day of six deal with psychological problems. They can be very friendly at times, but sometimes, if left unchecked, a person that is with the day of six, that's how their mind works, they can be psychologically imbalanced. In this pic, we're looking at Richard, and just looking at him, you can tell he's been in jail for a good minute, and he's not wanting to talk, so you can see there's a lack of presence with him. But one thing that those eyes are doing is they're being highly critical of his surroundings and the people that are around him. And even in the younger picture, we were seeing Richard really having those eyes turning down. He has a droopy look because his vitality is very low underneath his eyes. He's a great listener. He's going to listen to you. But he's definitely, while he's tuning in and listening to you, he's being highly critical of you, which would make him, I would hate to say perfect predator, because a lot of times a person has to be very critical or not liking their surroundings, and how he fixed it was him eliminating that person. He's known for raping, robbing people, and uh, he spent his life after he got in jail. He spent most of his life in jail and until he died. I will continue in part 2 about the Zodiac Killers, the Virgo list. It's a pretty long list. It's 10 of them, and I just went over 3. So we have some more to go. So stay tuned for part 2.